3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Nice try. Nice try. Okay, 3, 2, 1. What was it again? Three, two, one, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. What can I do as a mic check? 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Nice try. Don't insult me, their majesties, subjects. I speak American. I have 3 words for you, Pariah Islanders. Bonaparte's metric system. Allez les bleus! Signée, digit mutine, mic check, mic check. Hi there, this is Alva with the video blog, How I Met Your Father.life. Signée, digit mutine. So apparently, folks are all like, why isn't she talking about dating all those black guys? What's up with all the black guys? Where are all the black guys in her little blog, Miss? Come again? I don't respond to miss. I'm an adult, first of all. Let's see, where do I begin? Okay. Let's see, last summer there was a guy I met on a dating app. What was it? What was the dating app? It was Coffee Meets Bagel. I met this guy who identified himself as Kunle, a graduate of the University of Pennsylvania. Start chatting with him. He seems nice enough, has a nice smile, seemed kind of outgoing, seemed to be my type. What happened next? Eventually David identifies himself as Kunle, a Nigerian, a guy born in Nigeria who's a finance major. He works for like a bank or something. So see that he's actually Nigerian, but on the dating app he identifies himself as David, but his real name is actually Kunle, which is apparently a very popular name in Nigeria. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I have no problem dating a guy named Kunle. But interesting is his identification issue, calling himself David when his real name is Kunle. A very popular name in, what I'm told, Nigeria. First thing to keep in mind. So Kunle and I start talking, blah, 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 blah. We start chatting, sort of at the beginning of, like last summer, let's say, with the whole, COVID pandemic thing. And, gift a gab, totally shooting the breeze on the app, and then eventually we move on to talking over Zoom. We have a little virtual date. Couple things. Oh, we're chatting. We talk on the phone. This goes on for a couple weeks. I'm totally not dismissing him at all. Couple things. So we already have the name thing. He first identifies himself on the dating app as David when his name is actually Kunle. He knows I'm half African, as in Baoulé, from French West Africa. He knows this much about me. He knows I'm a journalist, all this stuff. We have a little Zoom conversation. He notices I have a poster on my wall through the Zoom conversation. And he's just like, why do you have a poster of women's brasiers, I think is how he put it, on your wall? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you have a poster of women's brasiers on your wall. What's that about? I'm like, huh? Does not compute. Can you come again? I don't understand what you're talking about. What is this thing you have on your wall? You have a poster of women's brasiers. And I'm like looking around my wall. I'm like, really? Where do you? Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. Okay, see, no, that's actually not a poster of women's brasiers. Or soutien-gorge, if you will. That's actually a poster I got at the Strand bookstore of butterflies. Let me take a picture of it for you. and text it to you. David, Kunle. So I proceed to take the picture of the poster on my wall, just to show him this is a poster of multicolored butterflies. I take the photo, I text it to him while we're on the Zoom call. I say, hey, David, Kunle, here's that poster you thought was of soutien-gorge, when in fact, it's of multicolored butterflies, a poster I bought at the Strand at Union Square. And it's just hanging on my wall. Okay. So we're just kind of chatting, blah, blah, blah. Why don't we meet up in person? You know, it's a pandemic, but maybe we can do like a socially distanced date, blah, 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 blah. Sure, no problem. I'm free next week. Why don't we do this? Okay, so we meet at like a place, some random place. You know, Union Square is kind of broke as far as like what I would consider like date spots. I think it's just kind of overrated. You know, maybe there's some spots in the meatpacking district near the Whitney, but you know, it's not like the best place. And I think he lives uptown, I live in Brooklyn, so we're trying to find a place in between. Meet up. He's on some weird freaking diet, like, I don't even know what it's called, but it's one of these diets that all these guys are on, like some kind of weird slimming diet or something that I'm just kind of like, interesting. So he couldn't really eat any of like the bar snacks. You know, we're just going to meet for drinks. It's not dinner or anything like that. We're just meeting for drinks. And he's got this weird complex about his body and his figure. Come to find out, he's a lot more heavyset than he lets on in his photo. It's just like, okay, interesting. He's still kind of handsome in the face. I was still giving him a chance, but I was like, interesting. He talks about this diet that he's on, and he like goes on fasts for like 48 hours straight, and can't eat carbs. It was like something super complicated. I was just like, okay, whatever. Giving him a chance. So, you know, we have this date. He walks me to the subway at Union Square. Apparently, it takes him a really long time to get home that night. He lives up in Harlem. Mind you, he's divorced and I think he has a kid or something like that. Shares custody with his children. I kind of didn't really keep track. Let's say the next day, we were kind of just like shooting the breeze about how the date went the previous night. And he's just like, you know what? I like the skin color you have. It's just the right shade of black for me. Come and get what? I like your shade of black. You're just the right shade of black. You're just light enough to be black, but not dark enough to be ugly, kind of thing. I'm like, whoa, I don't think I've ever heard that from anybody's mouth in my direction before, but that's fucked up. I hope I responded that way. I'm like, as I'm remembering it, did I respond that way or did I just think that in my head? That's pretty fucked up that you just fucking said that to me. I'm black enough to be cute, but not dark enough to be ugly. This is from a Nigerian guy named Kunle, a graduate of the University of Pennsylvania. Then he goes on to say, because I don't know, I guess like there was something in my profile about how the fact that I like to have parties, you know, dinner parties with my friends, and I'm always about like cooking, like, you know, like people who come to my parties know that I'm all about like, I make real food, like French style. Like I make real food when I have people over for drinks and dinner. Like I'm not just like a chips and dip kind of a party girl. Like I'm like, I go all out with like food. I make proper food, like a dinner kind of a thing. When I invite people over to my house, I don't just do like a little chips and Doritos kind of a thing, you know, with some like Trader Joe's dip. That's so not my style as far as entertaining in my home. That's always been the case as far as anyone who's ever known me can ever say as long as I've been an adult. So somehow we got onto this conversation and he's just like, wow, you're good wifey material. You know how to cook and everything. And I'm like, okay, 2 strikes and you're skating on thin ice. I don't like that comment. Good wifey material because I know how to cook. Okay. This is going real well, this conversation. Not. Then he proceeds to, what was the next thing? He's like, sorry, I'm doing a little eye mask as I kind of do this little kind of recording of my video op-ed, so forgive me if I'm just kind of like adjusting my eye under eye masks from Sephora. Next question. I think this was over a Zoom conversation, a second Zoom conversation we had. He says to me, I'd like to debate you on whether or not feminism is relevant to today. I'd like to debate you on whether or not feminism is relevant to today, is what he says to me. Wow, batting minus 1,000 with that question. On to the next. Don't think I'm gonna have that conversation. I guess that means you're really shitty in bed if you have to debate whether or not feminism is relative and relevant for today. I guess you're really shitty in bed if you have to debate whether or not feminism is relevant to today, is what I gleaned from that question David asked me during that Zoom call. It was now the third date. That's not up for debate. Feminism is never up for debate with me. David. Next question. You know, some of Trump's policies about immigration and blah, 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 are actually kind of really sound and interesting. Can you relate? Wow. No, I can't actually. I can't relate to agreeing with Trump's policies on a lot of things. Does this mean you're a Trump supporter? David? And that's about as well as that third date went. Why don't we go out to a beach or something this weekend? Maybe, we'll see. We'll see how the weather holds up. Gave it some thought. I gave it some thought, and I was just like, I don't really like Kunle's attitude. First, he hits me with this bullshit colorism line that I have never, ever heard ever in my life. As long as I've been a dating woman, even teenager, I have never, ever, ever had a guy tell me, oh, your skin is black enough to be cute, not ugly enough to be ugly. Not dark enough to be ugly. Never, ever, ever have I ever had a guy tell me, your skin is light enough to be cute, not dark enough to be ugly. I have never heard that before, ever in my life. Until Kunle from Nigeria, last year's date I met about 4 times over a date from Coffee Meets Bagel. He's the first and hopefully the last guy who has ever had the audacity to tell me, oh, your skin is light enough to be cute, not dark enough to be ugly. A Nigerian guy from like Abuja or something. Click, I don't think this weekend beach trip is gonna fucking happen. And that's how it ended. With that Nigerian